I'm back. I'll do this next 15-minute spot. And that should get me about to the way station. And then I'll stop, and I won't do any more until I get up to Michigan City. So yeah, hopefully we can work out a deal, and of course it's coming into wintertime, so it's like, work out a deal and then it'll be too cold to ride, but that's alright. There's always a few days here and there that are warm. I've been watching a show, I don't know if you guys like the some of the survival shows, you know, how to survive kind of thing, and started watching, you know, a few years ago, there was a one on called Survivor Man, and I kind of like that one. That one had, I think Les Stroud is his name. He's all by himself with cameras, and he was a cool guy, but it did kind of detract from the show a little bit because he's constantly spending a lot of time filming himself, which is kind of cool because, I mean, he really is out there, you know, like by himself, so it's a little more real, but on the other hand, he doesn't really have the time to show you maybe every detail. That's one thing I wish these shows would do, would spend a little more time, you know, they here's how to do fire, and he gets out the sticks and he starts rubbing them, and then the fire comes, and I mean, I wouldn't mind a show that, somebody ought to do a show where, you know, they spend half an hour showing you the details, because it isn't as easy as it looks on the TV show, you know. I mean, it's nice that they kind of give you an idea how to do it, and maybe I guess you'd figure it out on your own, but I'd like to see somebody do one where, you know, maybe they take the whole use a whole season for one survival show, and spend a lot of time on each section. I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't be fast-paced enough for most people. Not enough action. Anyway, so it started with the Survivor Man, and then he had Bear Grylls show, which was to the other extreme. He didn't really show you any detail at all, or very little, but it was very action-packed. And I just found this one called Dual Survival with Cody something or other and Dave. I can't remember. I'm bad with names. You're lucky I remember their first name. And Dave is sort of a ex-military sniper, hunter, you know, your typical, he's kind of like Bear Grylls. You know, the military, you know, let's go rip its head off and eat it for dinner, and, you know, he commonly says if it doesn't have 4 feet and fur, he's not really interested in eating it. The other guy, Cody, I find pretty interesting. He's a minimalist, lives in Arizona, and I mean, when I say minimalist, he doesn't have heat, he doesn't have air conditioning, recycles his own water, captures his own water. He's completely, pretty much off-grid, and even to the point where he does not wear shoes. He has not worn shoes in like 20 years. He walks around barefoot everywhere. So, when their first show was like an Arctic adventure, he's walking around in wool socks. He will put on socks, and only wool socks, natural wool socks. So he's walking around in the freaking snow and ice in shorts. He doesn't wear long pants, he wears only shorts, and a freaking sock, wool socks. And, you know, Dave, the military guy, he's looking at him like, you are insane. He's got boots and full gear and all this stuff, and he's like, I don't need it. He's like, if people walked around barefoot, you know, for 10,000, 20,000 years, it's only in the last couple thousand years that we've worn shoes. And they comment on the show that if they, I guess archaeologists can go back and look at the bone structure of people's feet, you know, like skeletons that they find, and they said the studies are showing that, in fact, our feet were healthier when we did not wear shoes. But 2,000 years of wearing shoes has altered our feet slightly, and even Cody has said that, you know, his barefoot feet don't work as well, even though he's got 20 years of experience with no shoes, as somebody from 10,000 BC. But he's a fascinating guy. He's quite frankly, in a true survival situation, his method is probably the better one. You're probably not going to have a gun, maybe not even a knife, maybe this. You know, you're not going to have tools. His idea is, when gathering food, is to gather food. Use as little energy as you can to gather, you know, fungus, roots, leaves, berries. They don't run very fast. So you can walk around slowly, expend very little energy, and gather perhaps a meager meal, but you also did not expend a lot of energy getting the meal. So it's a low risk, possibly high reward scenario. So it's interesting with the two of them together. They work together very well, and there's a lot of respect back and forth. Although Dave calls him a hippie occasionally, a barefoot hippie guy. But if you have a chance, it's on Netflix. You can watch it. You can stream it on Netflix. I've been enjoying it. They do kill animals, and in fact, often they show more than even the Bear Grylls show did. I mean, like one I just watched, he made a bow and arrow, and I will say they spend more time showing you some of the details. And they had a bow. The scenario was they were in a canoe and they fell over, and they only had whatever they happened to have. Well, they had a bow in a watertight tube, but they didn't have any arrows, so he had to make an arrow. And he found a piece of wood, found a bottom of a mason jar, used a stone, chipped out the glass, and made an arrowhead. And that was pretty neat. I mean, they showed you how to do that. It was pretty cool. And he got a turkey with the freaking arrow. Wasn't a kill shot, but it wounded it, and then he jumped up, ran after it, and cut its head off with a knife. They didn't show that part, but I mean, they showed the part where it's like he's on it, and you can see him kind of go like that with his hand, and the next scene is him sitting on the turkey with blood shooting out of the neck. So I mean, they do show graphic stuff. They usually don't show the kill, but you know what happens. So it's a cool show. I like it. They balance each other well. You know, he has strengths, Cody has strengths that Dave doesn't have, and vice versa. And quite frankly, I think they work better together as a team than either one of them would on their own. They also are more familiar with each other. I mean, like Dave lives in Arizona, so he's pretty good with desert and arid environments. Cody lives in Arizona and is good with desert environments. Dave is more of a marshland, swamp. He lives in Ohio, so he's better in green, lush, wet areas. And together they know a lot of shit. And I think the thing they tell you more often than not is, if you're going to go camping in a new area that you've never been, spend some time and research what trees can you eat, what plants can you eat, and then bring the appropriate gear. Don't just take a backpack with a first aid kit and hike off into unknown wilderness. If something goes wrong, you're going to die. So know about the area, know what the trees are, what you can use, get a survival book from the area. Really good tips. So, it's a cool show. Dual Survival. Love Netflix for that reason, man. All kinds of cool TV shows you can watch. Chrysler 300. It's supposed to be much improved. I was going to smoke a cigar today while driving. I realized it's kind of hard to talk when you're smoking. I like these. I smoke very, very, very rarely. I might smoke a cigar like once every 6 months or something. I'm not a connoisseur, but I like these. These are backwoods, wild and mild cigars. They're a sweet, aromatic cigar. Reminds me of my grandfather's pipe. I like pipe, the smell of pipe tobacco. Most of the expensive cigars I really don't like that much, but this is like it's a natural wrapped cigar. You know, it's got shit hanging out on both ends, and I lit it up at the yard there, and then I realized it's going to be kind of hard to talk and smoke at the same time, so I just put it out and I'll smoke it. A lot of times what happens is I'll get a pack of those. They come 5 in a pack, and I'll smoke one, and then I'll put it away, and then it's kind of a waste. It's fucking like $6 for that. Man, the last time I bought one of those, it was like $2.50. That tells you how long it's been. Actually, I got them also. I was gonna piss my wife off. She doesn't like. I don't really smoke per se. I was gonna piss her off and have her come meet me outside in the car and have one lit up, and just to get her reaction, see what she'd say. She knows I smoke a cigar occasionally, but I don't think I've smoked anything in at least a year, and never in front of her. So I haven't had the opportunity though to do that. She works a different shift than I do, so we don't see each other that often. Problem with truck driving. Alright guys, I'll be coming up here on the way station pretty soon, and I'm coming up on 15 minutes as well, so we'll see what happens here. I always I always turn the video off and take the hat off when I come through this way station. We'll see here. Got the engine brake on, and get to this sign right here, and you still got a little bit of distance to the way station, but you want to get it down to about 30 miles an hour when you go over the rolling scale. And I find if you do it at 30 and you're off the throttle, there's no load on any of the wheels, a lot of times you can get through. But sometimes these loads they're heavy on one axle or not, and then they'll make you come in and weigh. It's about 50-50 at this weigh station. Usually going to Indiana, it's and it's always open. So let's see here. Put my turn signal on early so people know I'm getting the hell off the highway, and slow it down. You don't want to hit the brakes really hard, because then the product in my tank can move forward, and then you're overweight on the drive axle. So you want to try to get it down to 30 miles an hour. And you should not do this. I roll over it in neutral with no load, and then what'll happen here is I'll get a pass or fail, and I got a pass, but I'm going to put the camera down. And 15 minutes is up anyway, so I'm going to have to go here, but that was it. I would like to have had the camera go all the way through the way station so you can see it, but the problem is that you got the officers are in that building right there looking out, and I mean, with this tiny ass little camera, it is extremely unlikely that they would see it, and I don't think that it's even against the rules, but they can pull you in for an inspection at any point, even though it bypassed me and said I was okay. There's a sign that says exit to 74. That sign can also say pull around back, and you know, all they got to do is have one little reason to pull you in, and then I'm stuck there for a freaking hour getting inspected. So, you know, I take the camera off my head, just in case. Anyway, guys, I gotta go. 15 minutes is up. Hopefully, I'll be able to record when I get up to Michigan City and do another one of those complicated backups, and we'll see how that goes. See you guys. Bye.